Okay, Mr. McLeland. Ms. McLeland, thank you, Judge. As I said in the beginning, the state is in a unique position. The state doesn't have a huge concern of where he's housed. The state does believe he should be held without bond. That's not the hearing here. And we believe that's because of the evidence we've collected. That evidence have been presented to the courts in various pleadings, the multiple confessions to multiple people. We believe that the evidence is strong. By preponderance of the evidence, the proof of guilt is evident. What the fuck has this to do with where he's detained at the moment? The proof of guilt is evident, and the presumption that he committed this heinous act are strong. You lying sack of shit. You know all of what you're saying now is invented, including the strength of their confessions. Mr. McLeland knows about all the confessions from other people that has been denied the defense, that he didn't hand over to the defense. He knows about the first 70 days. I'm sure of it. He knows that the first 70 days of interviews are gone. He knows. He knows about the Odinist theory. He knows it, and he's actively not sharing it with the defense at this point in time. Now we know that at this point in time that Frank's motion is on the way. And he's so mad about it because he's gone to such efforts to not hand stuff over to the defense, to lie, to make other people lie. Blah, blah, blah. So the state doesn't have real concern. I suppose it's the lawyer in me that wants to argue it more than anything. You don't have a lawyer in you, Mr. McLeland. You're a disgrace. But Mr. Rossi brought up 35-33-11-1, and they decided to scrap the safekeeping order altogether. I don't see any provisions within that chapter that said if you scrap the safekeeping, the defense then gets to choose what facility it's in. If the safekeeping order is scrapped, it comes back to Carroll County. I don't see anything other provision that says the defense gets to choose what facility it's in. They are making suggestions. Jesus Christ, they are making suggestions to solve this. They are not telling you to choose. They are giving suggestions. This is how you solve this problem. I may have missed something. Yeah, your soul. But I looked through that chapter with some extensive research and didn't find anything. And so if the safekeeping order is scratched, it comes back to the charging county, which is Carroll County. And that's where he's to be housed if the safekeeping order is scrapped. What they are searching for is for an order from the judge to them find a place. And so I think the court, to me, when I read the motion, I think the court hit the nail on the head. That this is about convenience for Mr. Rossi. No. The convenience is for Mr. Allen to have a continuous access to his attorneys. So, of course, it is a hassle to drive 3 hours a day just to have a meeting with your client. Of course, it's inconvenient because they can't pull up a proper defense under those circumstances. He makes a mock quote. We don't want a safekeeping order. The sheriff hadn't met their burden. You should get rid of it. But we really want you to modify it to Cass County, so he's right next door to where I'm at. Mr. McLeland, I can be snark. I can do snark because I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not Mr. Allen's defense attorney. What the fuck just happened? I just got a pop-up that said I'm offline. Folks, say something in chat if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay. I still have that pop-up. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, it seems like I'm back, at least in some way, shape, or form. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thank you. You're fine. Thank you. All right. Yeah, as I said, I can go snark because I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not Mr. Allen's attorney. If I were either, I would either have thrown out the case and filed charges against some of the investigators, or if I had been Mr. Allen's attorney, I can't put myself in that position. I really can't. But for a prosecutor to be going on like this, it's not proper. He makes Brennan look like a wonder of impartiality and ethics. We heard the Cass County Sheriff testify. We heard the DOC warden testify. It doesn't sound like his situation in either facility is going to be much different. You lying sack of shit. It's going to be videotaped 24 hours a day in Cass County. He's not going to have face-to-face visits. He's going to have all the amenities and maybe even less in Cass County than he has at DOC. Just conveniently forgetting about the fact that he is guarded by Olderness guards in prison. He has felony inmates guarding his door, probably screaming at him. He's not going to have 24-hour medical or mental health facility or people there to look after him. At this point, yes, this is a good argument. But now when we know about Dr. Walla, Mr. Allen would have been better off without that service. Because Dr. Walla, in my opinion, her involvement in this case, that she actively sought out to be Mr. Allen's psychologist, while she was active in different, what was it? Discord or Reddit or Facebook groups about this case. Yeah, now we know. Back then, this was a good argument. He wouldn't have 24-hour medical or mental health facility or people there to look after him. But knowing what we know now about Dr. Walla, he would have been better off without that help. He's not going to have those, I guess, conveniences at the time 24 hours a day. The Cass County Sheriff said those are only there, I think, 4 hours a week for mental health and maybe 12 hours a week or 12 hours a day for the medical. And so I don't think the situation is much different from Westville as opposed to Cass County, except for geographic area and convenience for Mr. Rossi. He is segregated in the segregated unit. He's in solitary confinement. You heard the concerns of our sheriff about transport, about housing, about his safety, and so those are the main concerns I hear from the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. Are there other options for transportation? Possibly. I don't know what those are at this point, so I can't comment on those, Judge. So that's the state's standpoint at this point. Thank you, the court. Anything else? Mr. Rossi, just a couple of comments, reactions. First of all, the prosecutor again is sitting here talking about multiple confessions. You're going to hear at some point what he's talking about. This is one of the things where at 1 minute, Rick Allen's saying one thing, and just 2 seconds later, he's saying something else. It's all very generic. This is not some, inquisition where he's finally given up and thrown in the towel and he's just confessing. This is not that. And I've listened to what he's listened to. The second thing is that the idea that somehow the Cass County Jail is not an option. That's just me offering up an alternative. I would think that if any lawyer came in and asked for relief in the form of some prayer, that you would want to know what's the relief. And so I'm just offering up a suitable circumstance to the court that might fit. I've even suggested loosely today that the White County circumstance wasn't that bad. Everything seemed to be fine there for the week he was there. It's accessible, it's not very far, it's actually closer to this courthouse. Anything to make this a little bit easier. And then we get into the issue of convenience for me. Convenience for me. Okay, so the idea that Mr. Baldwin or I have to travel great distance and deal with all these layers of security and the changing rules and all these other circumstances, including having our own visits videotape, is somehow okay? I mean, I'm trying to put him in a situation where we can have reasonable contact with him with reasonable notice and represent him like the rules of professional conduct require me to represent him. And so to the extent that is convenient for me, it's convenient for him. And that's what's important, is what needs and what rights does he have. And him being accessible to us without having to go through all these hurdles and having some of the modern amenities like water when we meet with him, and not having him shielded up like this when we're trying to talk to him, having a computer in front of us so we can show him the thousands of hours of witness statements and other things. Those aren't amenities. Those are basic human rights, basically. And that's what we're asking for, is just get us in a situation that's functional. We're not asking to put him in the Holiday Inn. And I don't see any reason why we're not there. Nobody's really objecting. And just that we can't get a van back and forth between 2 counties, for Christ's sakes, we almost put a guy. We put a guy on the moon 40 years ago. We can drive the van around from Cass County to Carroll. I don't see a problem with that. It is really frustrating. You can sense that from me. I just want to get on with the case and get him in a better circumstance, and that's what I'm asking you to think about. The court, okay. And in all fairness, Mr. McLeland, I don't hear that the defense is asking to scrap the safekeeping order. The motion is clearly to modify the safekeeping order. You see how she sounds reasonable here? But we know she doesn't give a flying fuck about the defense or the rights of Mr. Allen. We know that. But she is very, very careful on making it sound good on the record. This might even be something that her clerk of court, Jody, is helping with. Because I don't trust Jody at all, the clerk of court. I have zero trust in her. That what we are reading now is what actually was word by word, what was being said. I believe I would say it's a 50-50 chance that this is a cleaned up version of what actually happened.